Arthur Schopenhauer was one of the important philosophical writers of the early 19th century in Germany. And with me I have Richard Bell, my colleague, who is going to talk to us about the relationship between Schopenhauer and art. Richard, you're welcome.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, so Schopenhauer and art. Well, Schopenhauer took a great interest in art, visual arts, drama, literature, and music. So in the realm of music, for example, he loved the operas of Rossini and Mozart. And for Schopenhauer, there's something very, very interesting emerges. Often we think of art or music as something which stirs our emotions. But for Schopenhauer, art was primarily cognitive. So he felt that through art, something was revealed, the truth was revealed. And I should just say something about his relationship to Immanuel Kant. Now, he was a disciple of Immanuel Kant, and Kant made this fundamental distinction between the world of phenomena, where we impose certain things upon our experience, and the thing in itself. And what Kant said is that the thing in itself is something unknown. Schopenhauer, however, questioned this. And he felt that, although yes, usually we form this world as representation, this world of phenomena, something that we form in this particular subject-object relationship. But he also thought that somehow we can delve a little deeper into reality and know perhaps a little about the thing in itself. And the thing in itself, Schopenhauer called the will. Now, how therefore, through art, can we come to know the thing in itself? The fundamental thing here for Schopenhauer are the Platonic Universals. Now, the Platonic Universals for Schopenhauer were not in this realm of the thing in itself. The best way, I think, to think about it is that the Platonic Universals were on the boundary between the phenomenal world and the noumenal world, the boundary between the world as representation and the thing in itself. Now, when he looked at the arts, he had actually a certain gradation. So at the bottom was architecture. Sorry, architects, but this is where he placed architecture. And then above this, you'd have things like painting and so on. Then you'd go up the scale. And at the very, very top, you'd actually have drama. And of drama, he felt that the highest form of drama was tragedy. And it's very, very interesting that although most Germans in the 19th century are looking to the Greeks as a sort of people who wrote the greatest tragedies, for him it was actually Shakespeare. Shakespeare was the greatest tragedian for Schopenhauer. So how therefore, through these sort of arts, do we actually perceive the Platonic universal? And he said that in great art there exists this possibility to discern the universal. So let's take something like a statue, say Michelangelo's statue of King David. Now, this is such a great work of art because it's not about a particular King David who lived in 1000 BC, but rather it expresses something universal. Likewise with Shakespeare. So the thing that's special, for example, about Hamlet is that it's dealing with universal issues. Now, Schopenhauer said that it's therefore possible through art to discern these Platonic universals. But, he said, it's not something that comes automatically. Now, earlier I said that he talks in terms of subject and object. Now, in, say, normal experience, there's a certain subject-object correlation. And he would say that this is according to the principle of sufficient reason. So in normal experience, this is how things appear. If you're, say, doing a scientific experiment, also things are according to the principle of sufficient reason. But he said that in certain instances, and he would talk about this aesthetic state, there is a special correlation between subject and object. So, as I say, discerning these Platonic universals is not something automatic. So let me give you an example. When I was a student, I used to go to the National Gallery in London, and I loved to see look at the Impressionist paintings. And one day you'd go and you'd say, yeah, that's okay. Next day you'd go and you go, oh, this is just absolutely amazing. And Schopenhauer would say that when you have that feeling of, as though time stands still, this is what he called the aesthetic state. And so he said there are these possibilities to discern these Platonic universals. And he felt that when you're in that aesthetic state, that somehow you're delving a little deeper into reality. Should we say, approaching the thing in itself. And so this is what happens with most arts. Now, the arts I've mentioned so far, things like painting, sculpture, architecture, drama, well, there's something missing, and that is music, of course. And music had a very, very special position for Schopenhauer. And he said that because it's such an abstract thing, it doesn't represent or copy anything that's in the world of phenomena. And he said that music is a copy of the world will. So the world will for Schopenhauer is the thing in itself. And so he believed that music actually had a very special position. And he said that just as the world is the embodied will, in parallel to that, you could almost say that the world is music. So music and the world of nature, they're almost in parallel. Both of them are copies of this world will. And so music for Schopenhauer had a very special position. Now, if I just move this on now to a theological question, is it possible, therefore, according to Schopenhauer, for art to reveal something about the world and possibly something about God? And the answer to that, I think, is yes, it is possible according to Schopenhauer. Because if, let's say, take music, if that is a copy of the world will, he talked about the Abbild copy, it means that if music is telling you something about the fundamental depth of reality, it must tell you something about God in these two respects. First of all, if God is the creator of the world, and you know something about the fundamentals of the world, then there's a possibility that that could reveal something about God. And secondly, and this is perhaps a little bit more speculative, but if in Christian theology we believe that Jesus is the God-man, then, and he's still the God-man even though he's ascended into heaven, as we say, it means that Jesus Christ is still part of this world. And what I've argued in my book on Wagner's Parsifal, that this opera, or it's not really an opera, it's a very, very special work, but this work is somehow able to reveal something about Jesus Christ through the music and the way in which this music is very much related to the text as well. And so just as a final thought, what actually happens in something like opera? Because in opera you've got a combination of the music, which is, according to Schopenhauer, a copy of the world will, and you've got text and you've got drama, which is a more indirect way to the world will, because there you're dealing with the Platonic universals. And one way to understand this is that in opera you have, so to speak, a stereoscopic view. So it's almost as though in one eye you've got the music, through one eye you've got the music, which is a copy of the world will, and through the other eye, through the text and the drama, you're discerning the depth of the world through the Platonic universals.
Richard, thank you very much.
Thank you.